Good evening. Thank you for joining us for yet another one of our renditions of our Fireside Chat. It's been a little while since we've been able to get together. Life kind of hit us. We've had a lot of things going on. Brother Sam, of course, been busy with his life, and we've been scattered abroad. But we thought we'd squeeze one in here while we can. Appreciate you all so very much. I want to read just 3 verses to you, and want to talk to you. Yesterday we had our Valentine banquet, or friendship banquet as we call it. And Brother Larry hit a very great subject, especially in correlation with what our theme is this year of loving one another, and talked about friendship. And he did a great job about the importance of good friends and how that can affect your life. And then in turn, you can affect others' lives in that way. And in the church setting, it's imperative that we develop friendships inside the church for our own betterment, and in the human race, and being able to reach people and reaching the lost. When people come to our church, they can sense whether or not there's a connection amongst us. And so I thought it was a tremendous subject that he hit. And it kind of set my mind down a path. And I've got a few verses here I want to read, and then we'll talk about it just for a second, be done. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1, it says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you are called, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. And kind of piggybacking what Brother Larry was talking about friendships and friends, I just want to carry on with that thought. And here in this passage, the Apostle Paul is talking and dealing with relationships in the book of Ephesians. And here in chapter 4, he's basically saying, I'm a prisoner for the Lord. I want to encourage you that even though I'm in a position where I can't do this because of my position as a prisoner, I encourage you that you endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit. How do I do that? He explains that in verse 2. It says, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, and forbearing one another in love. Those few things that he lists there in verse 2, with all lowliness, that means humility. With meekness. Meekness is kind of a lot of times we think it means weakness. It doesn't mean weakness, but it means firmness with gentleness. It doesn't mean going at and just forcing your way. It's doing what's right. And being gracious to others that may not agree with you, but you're not going to change whether they agree with you or not. You're going to continue to do what's right. So with meekness, and then long suffering, that means we're supposed to continue to do right and continue to do right and continue to do right, and not let ourselves get frustrated when time and energies and things seem to be not working out like we'd like. We need to continue in that. But then that last statement, he says, forbearing one another in love. And boy, that term, forbearing, I love that term. The picture I get when I think of forbearing is like, years ago I broke my ankle, and I couldn't stand up. I tried, but I couldn't stand up. And I was at my sister and my brother-in-law's house, and they came over, and my brother-in-law Felipe took this arm, my sister took this arm, and they helped me stand up on the one good leg that I had. And it was funny because as soon as I got upright, then my mind thought I could walk it off with the other leg. It'll be fine. And I actually tried, realizing that I couldn't. But when I tried to put weight on that bad leg, and my whole body collapsed, and in pain, my sister and brother-in-law took the weight of me to help me establish balance again and be able to hold on. That's what forbearing is. Forbearing is when I see somebody in need, that I reach out and help them. And if there's ever a better picture of friendship, if there's ever a better picture of the church setting, it's that we need to be willing to reach out and help those, our friends, our church members, and love them in a way that only we can. And honestly, when I see that, right after verse 3, it goes into this statement. Listen to what he says. There is one body, one spirit, even as you are called in hope of your calling. He carries all of that discussion, but he lays the groundwork and says, this is how I want you to make it. This is how I want you as a church to deal with relationships. I want you to endure. Sometimes we're not going to get along. Sometimes there's going to be problems. Sometimes it's somebody's going to do something to bother us. Let's be long-suffering. Let's be gracious. And let's love as Jesus taught us to love. Man, and I love that word, forbearing. God bless you all so much. We love you. And so glad to get back to the Fireside Chat. We'll try to get back a little more regular on those. But God bless you very much. Have a great evening. Good night.